Good morning and welcome to Sofia in Bulgaria, and today we are off on a major yomp. We're going to the Buzludzha monument up in the mountains, something I've wanted to see for years now, since I found out about it. All will be revealed. So we are closing in on our objective now. We're about to start the windy bit when we climb up towards the monument. And there's a slightly strange thing going on where the scenery reminds me more of Kent and Sussex, Dorset and Somerset, apart from these rock-bound cliffs and the mountains you can see over there. The trees and the general greenery is much more, as I say, Kent, Sussex, Dorset, Somerset. Much more deciduous trees than conifers. The old car's done pretty well, given the number of kilometres I've put on it today due to a grotesque navigation error. Anyway, right, last push up the hill. Yeah, high in the Bulgarian mountains. There's a camper van over there. What a wonderful view. And then spin yourself around and there it is. Quite why they put two ice cream cones at the bottom of the hill, I'm not sure. Who knew they had Mr. Whippy in the Soviet Union? We're here in Bulgaria at the Buzludzha monument, high on the hills in the mountains. And that's the monument up on the hill, and this sits at the foot of it. For those of you that are not native English, Mr. Whippy is a brand and design of ice cream that basically looks just like those two torches. It normally has a chocolate flake stuck in the top, in which case, for reasons that are lost to history, it's called a 99. But without the chocolate, it's a Mr. Whippy. And there's two of them here, hewn from the living rock. And there on top of the hill is the Buzludzha in all its glory, although sadly it's rotting, decaying glory. I'm hoping there's a car park up there. I believe there is, because that's quite a hike. And for those who have watched my videos and have heard me say I don't do cathedrals and churches because they are symbols of power, wealth and oppression, I would find it hard to fight off the accusation of hypocrisy, but I would say that this was a monument to socialism, and socialism was surely based on the early Christian values of equal shares, look after each other, be good to each other, everybody should be treated equally. Yes, the implementation of it turned out to be a nightmare, and they killed almost double the amount of their own citizens than the Nazis did. But they weren't afraid of a bit of architecture, were they? And I've passed a lot of bits of architecture from the Soviet era on my way up here. Some people call it brutalist. I think it's minimal and functional. Anyway, more about this incredible place when we get up there. I have to own up to a navigational error that meant that instead of arriving here at 1 o'clock as the sat nav said I would, I've actually arrived here at 6 o'clock. However, that's a good thing because I'm not going to have to go up there in the brutal heat of the midday sun, which has been in the high 20s if not low 30s today in this area of Bulgaria. So, come on my little hire car, one last slog. I think I can be forgiven for saying fuck. Let's take the official entrance steps up to this extraordinary thing. Bit of history. This was built in the late 70s, opened in 1981. It was built as a monument to the Bulgarian Socialist Party, which formed, if not on this very spot, in this area in 1891. Other commentators, including the very wonderful Bald and Bankrupt, suggest that this area of Bulgaria was also where the Bulgarians finally defeated the Ottomans back in the 14 or 1500s or something. I don't remember the date. The Ottomans, who were seeking to conquer and occupy these lands. So it was opened in 1981 and closed in 1989 when the Berlin Wall in its broadest sense collapsed and the Soviet Union collapsed. And has been left to rot. Although there is a young lady called Dora Ivanova, I believe, who is leading a restoration project. The inscription on the right, I believe, says "Workers and lady workers of the world, unite," and other such cliches of Marxist-Leninism. I don't know if these statues have been worn away or if that was their original design. One other thing to notice about this building, the interior sadly is unsafe to go into, but is full of the most extraordinary mosaics. And in the centre of the dome, looking down onto the auditorium, I suppose you'd call it, is a massive hammer and sickle, which, as my generation will know, was the emblem of the Soviet Union. But that whole circle where you can see the green and white, I think their tarpaulins have been put up to try and protect the mosaics. That whole circle is nothing but mosaics, which were a Soviet thing. So I believe there are police in attendance, 24-hour security to stop people trying to get in, because all the urban explorer types, for them, this is heaven. And while we acknowledge that the Russian communists ended up being unable to feed and house their own population to any decent standard, they were not scared of a bit of architecture, were they? In fact, I would go so far as to say, fuck, again, as I stand beneath this extraordinary structure. And its equally extraordinary surroundings. Look, you can see the reinforcing rods in the concrete are starting to be exposed. There's water dripping through it. I hope the restoration project goes ahead. It's been declared a UNESCO heritage site, and I believe some money has been found to attempt to rescue what's left. Yeah, we've just caught the last of the sun. See that road there? With all the switchbacks. We drove up that. There's 24 kilometres of it. And I'm probably going to want to set off before it's dark. Though, looking at that, sunset is a good couple of hours away. This tower at the back has a big red star at the top of it. truly one of the great construction projects of the world. Yeah, you can see the ruined ceiling, sadly. Oh dear, oh dear. And these beautiful mountains. They've got their harsh rocky bits to them as well, but they're overwhelmingly verdant, I think I would put it. Yeah, there's a big sort of walkway up in the roof there where they're trying to fix some of it. It would be a tragedy if this were lost, any more than it already is. But they need to get a move on. Yeah, these are swallows taking a bath. So we've got to head back west to Sofia. We're playing in the Narodny Dom Kultur, the People's House of Culture, tomorrow night, and then flying off to Munich the next day. But I've busted a gut to make sure that I actually managed to come and see this, and I'm so glad I did. It is a truly extraordinary thing. Yeah, you can't really see anything through there. Looks like the remains of the Chernobyl number 4 reactor. Fortunately, it's not dangerous to go near. The sense of weight that comes off it is amazing. And there would have been all sorts of parades and events, conferences, celebrations, ceremonies going on here. Dignitaries coming up and down these steps. but sic transit gloria mundi, thus pass the glories of the earth. There, what a great trip. Truly one of the modern wonders of the world, and should be saved. So one of the guys there told me that these statues at the front were originally communist figures, socialist figures, probably Marx, Lenin, the usual culprits. And without being too heavy-handed about it, their power has withered away, as are their doings. The brooding presence of it is very powerful. And I'm fighting not to admit that there's something a little pointless about it as well. All that effort only to let it rot away because the ideology it celebrated made a mess of its job and rotted away too. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Politics and philosophy and architecture all rolled into one.